Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 843 of Screw the Commute podcast. Today we're going to talk about stories and case studies. These are powerful ways to show how well your product and service works. And this is a copywriting technique from my copywriting series. Well, my whole program on it is copywriting901.com. You definitely should check that out because that's the number one skill, writing copy, in my entire business career, long before the internet started, being able to write copy. And don't get sucked in that this AI is going to save you from writing copy. No, you have to know the techniques, know how to adjust them for your audience and all that stuff. And this whole series is starting with episode 836. I actually have other ones long ago, but 836 and today is 843. All of them have been on copywriting techniques. They're very short and easy to implement things that will help you increase sales. Now, anytime you want to get to a back episode, you go to screwthecommute.com/ then the episode number starting at /836. All right, now let's see. If you like our training episodes, all our training episodes, about 430 of them, are at screwthecommute.com/training. And of course, I want you to check out my mentor program at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. And triply, of course, I want you to grab a copy of our automation ebook at screwthecommute.com/automate free. All right, let's talk about stories and case studies. First of all, these are stories and case studies about someone you've helped as opposed to testimonials, which are pretty much stories said by others to tell how great you are. So these, what we're talking about today, are about other people. Now, stories and case studies are told by you to highlight someone else's success. It just so happens that success happened because the person or organization used your product or service. Now, both stories and case studies have the same simple formula that I'll tell you about in a minute. First, let me define the term story and case study. A story, as we use it in copywriting, is a narrative that tells of someone else's success with your product or service. A case study is a story, same thing, but with extreme, and I'm talking extreme with a capital X, okay, detail. Or I call it a story on steroids. Now, in episode 842, just the last one, I talked about two types of prospects, skimmers and analyticals, and how to please both of them in the same sales letter. Now, I highly suggest you re-listen to that episode, screwthecommute.com/842. See, stories appeal more toward, just plain stories appeal more towards skimmers, and case studies that have extreme detail appeal more to analyticals. All right, now here's the simple formula for both stories and case studies. It just consists of three words: problem, intervention, results. I'll say them again: problem, intervention, results. So here's an example from my speaker training. Joe was having trouble selling at the back of the room. I reviewed a video of his entire presentation, and I noted that he waited until the end of his speech to even mention his product. I taught him my drawing technique that was to be done about halfway through his talk, where he did a business card drawing where an audience member would win his product. This gave him a chance to describe his product with no sales resistance. Remember, they're going to win this thing. Nobody has to pull their wallet out. Plus, he built his email list with a bunch of new subscribers from the business cards. The next time Joe went out to speak, he sold $1,000 at the back of the room. All right, let's break it down. Problem: he couldn't sell at the back of the room. Intervention: I taught him how to do a drawing properly and to build his email list, without getting in trouble by spamming people. He got their permission while he was on stage. Results: he sold $1,000. All right, now let me give you the same example as a case study. and that's more suited to analyticals. Now remember, I'm going to put extreme detail in the case study because if I don't, analyticals won't believe my claims. And if I do, all the analyticals will be orgasming, right? Because they love detail. And speaking of detail, here's what I mean. Before I give you the example, if I wanted to tell them about the success rate of my product, I wouldn't say 91%. I'd say, or about 91%, something like that. That's wishy-washy. I'd say 91.3%, because 91.3 is more precise, and that's what analyticals like. Okay, here's just part of the same example with extreme detail, because I could go on for an hour, because it contains all the detail. And sometimes I start laughing because it's so precise, but that's what analyticals like. All right, so here's the same Joe guy. Joe Smith, a 31-year-old professional speaker who's been speaking professionally for 7.5 years to audience sizes ranging from 50 to 175 people with a mean average. See, I start laughing in the middle because my audience is mostly not analyticals, but with a mean average of 92.7 audience members. You see what I mean? And that's the kind of detail. That's as far as I'm going to go, just because you should have the idea that it's extreme detail, and that's what case studies are about. If it's not precise, nobody believes it, see, especially analyticals. Now, one mistake that people make, even with the basic story or the case study, they don't usually make it as much with the case study because it's supposed to go into extreme detail. But a lot of times, people with the stories, they think to themselves, well, I don't want to give them my techniques because then they won't need me. That's as far as it possibly can be from the truth. When you give them the details of just one thing that you did that got a great result, they think, wow, if that was great, just think of all the other great stuff the person has. So don't hold back on the details of the intervention. Now, one other thing I talk about with stories is you should have 3 different lengths of the story: a short, a medium, and a long. If I'm on a 3-minute interview on a rock station, I can't go for a 3-minute story. The whole interview's over and the other person never said anything. I can do the same story in 15 seconds. Yeah, this guy came to me. He couldn't sell at the back of the room, so I taught him how to do a drawing, get all the business cards, give away his product, and boy, they loved it. By the end of the day, he sold $1,000 at the end of his speech. See, that was a 15-second version. And then you have a mid version and a longer version, depending on how much time you have when you're saying these things. In writing, you can do whatever you want because they can read it at their leisure. All right, so anyway, don't hold the details of the intervention. All right, so that's a technique. You need to develop stories, success stories about people who have used your products and services. You can also get testimonials from the same people and put them in different places. I wouldn't put the same testimonial from one person that you did the story about, because it looks like you're a one-trick pony. One person got your success with your stuff. So I would spread that out other places, but definitely use stories. And if you know you have analyticals, use case studies and you will sell a lot more. All right, check out my mentor program, greatinternetmarketingtraining.com, because I got tons of this stuff for being in business 47 years now, long before the internet started. And it just cracks me up when these people that made $2 want to tell you how to get rich, and they can't make their car payment. So anyway, check it out, greatinternetmarketingtraining.com, and I will catch you on the next episode. See you later.